Hello everyone, a very warm welcome again to everyone here for the virtual session of science. I hope you all are doing very well. Health wise, you all are doing very well. Very much hopeful for that, children. And a gentle reminder about your notebook. I hope you all are maintaining your notebook. So, let us continue with the chapter the living organisms and their surroundings. Let us see what are we going to learn in this session. First of all, a quick recap of the characteristics shown by the living creatures or the living things. Just need to have a quick recap. I hope you have listed down all these characteristics one by one in your notebook so that we can learn them in detail as the session proceeds. So in the previous session we have seen the various characteristics of the living things. They respire, reproduce, grow, move, excrete waste, respond to stimuli, take on nutrients. All these are shown by living things. And we have studied in detail about the excretion, that is a characteristic of the living things. I hope you all have taken down all the important points. We have seen movements shown by the plants and the living creatures and all the living organisms. How they move, how plants move due to their growth. Plants do not actually move, but their body actually will not move, but they show growth towards different chemicals, towards sunlight, towards water. All that growth is seen, that kind of movement we have seen. So we have finished with the excretion part, and we are done with the movement part. That two main characteristics we are done. Let us see what are we going to do in this session. One of the most important characteristics shown by living organism, that is reproduction, we are going to see here in this session. All living organisms give rise to a new organism of their own kind by a process called reproduction. That means they are going to give birth to the young ones. The mode of reproduction may be different in different animals and plants. The way they reproduce, the way they give young ones, give birth to young ones, will differ from animals to animals, will differ from plants to plants. But all living organism, even the unicellular organism, a single cell amoeba, will reproduce by some different mode of reproduction. So even single cell amoeba, unicellular organism, will give birth to the offspring. Otherwise, the living organism will not able to survive or will not able to exist. They will extinct. Some animals reproduce their young ones through eggs. So some animals give out eggs, and they hatch eggs outside their body, and they give birth to the young ones. Mammals will not give eggs. The child takes, or the young ones take few months in the mother's womb, and then they give birth to the young ones. So some animals and birds, they give out eggs, and the eggs will hatch to the young ones, whereas some animals will not give eggs. Mother keeps for that particular period of time. Mother will keep it in her womb, and after a few months, young one or baby is born. This is how reproduction takes place. So let us see, some animals give birth to the young ones. Plants produce seeds which germinate into new plants. Some plants also reproduce through parts other than seeds. So it is not only seeds that is responsible for reproduction in plants. In various species, there are thousands of species on earth. That means that many types of plants seen on the earth. So they have different ways, different mode of reproduction. So it is not only seeds which are responsible by germination, they will give out to young ones. It is the other part. In some plants, the leaves will be responsible. In some plants, stems will be responsible. So this is how the reproduction takes place in plants. Example, a part of potato with a bird grows into a new plant. So very good example of a different type of reproduction seen in potato. You must have seen potato with some eyes, you can say, some kind of black spots, and they will have some tiny birds When you keep it for some longer time, they grow buds, and each bird is actually a new plant, that is a baby of the potato. So this is how I hope you are writing all these points in your notebook, children. So here you can see lioness and cub, sheep and lamb, mare and colt, and goat and kid. So young ones, you can see how beautiful they are. So cute, isn't it, children? So every animals and plants, they have to reproduce. They give birth to the young ones. Just have a look at this. So here we will go for living things and non-living things. We are going to differentiate between them. We have learned about so many characteristics of living organism or living creatures, and we know what are the characteristics shown by them, how they are being differentiated from non-living things. The points are very easy. Once you know all the characteristics of the living organisms, you can easily make a point of difference between living and non-living things. So here we have living organisms need food, air and water, whereas non-living things do not need food, air and water. As you all know, table, chair, fan, walls, all those are non-living things. They will not require food, air and water. Next point, living organisms grow. So you can see plants growing, you can see animals growing, you see yourself growing. Whereas the rocks, the table, the chair, all that living things will not grow. Third point, living organism can move on their own. As we can move from one place to another by some body movements, snakes, birds, different types of animals, they show different types of body movement, they move from one place to another. Whereas non-living things cannot move on their own unless we shift them from one place to another. Like for the cupboard at home, you want to shift somewhere else, or your study table you want to shift somewhere else. So it is not like that the study table will move on its own. We will shift, we will move, then only it will move. Fourth point, living organisms are sensitive. They respond to changes around them. As I told you, all living organisms will have response to the stimuli. That means any change in the environment, any change in the surrounding, they will respond. As we respond to the climatic changes, to the severe cold, to summer, to the heat, to anything in the environment, we do respond to it because we are living. Our body have all the cells which is giving signal to the brain, and that help us to give response to the changes around us. Similarly, all the living organism will show some effect, some kind of response to the changes around themselves. But non-living things are non-sensitive. They are non-sensitive at the rock, the table, the chair. They will not respond to any change in the environment, whether it is cold or hot. It is immaterial to them. Living organisms reproduce themselves. As I told you, all the living creatures are very important characteristic. They have to give birth to the young ones so that they will not get extinct, and that's why they reproduce, they give birth to young ones. Whereas non-living things, they will not reproduce, they will remain as it is throughout. Please make these points of comparison in your notebook. Then next point, continue writing in the column in your notebook. Make 2 columns and continue to write all the points. 6th point, living organisms respire. They release energy from food. So respiration is altogether different from breathing. Respiration is the breaking down of the food into glucose and energy. When you inhale oxygen, that oxygen will help in breaking down glucose into energy. That is respiration. Whereas non-living thing will not show any respiration. Living organism excrete, they give out all the waste from the body. They get rid of the waste material because it is toxic to the body, harmful to the body. Whereas non-living things, they do not eat, and there is no need to excrete anything. Living organisms have a definite lifespan after which they die. That is, they have a definite life cycle. So a definite lifespan for animals, for birds, for human being. Among animals also the lifespan differs. The lifespan of cats and dogs will be different. The lifespan of dog and elephant will be different. The lifespan of elephant and monkey will be different. The lifespan of all the other animals and we human being is different. So it has a definite lifespan. After that, every living organism has to die one day. Non-living things do not have definite lifespan because they are not living. Their cells will not die. As the living organisms, they live, and in that particular lifespan, the cells in the body get degenerated, and due to some reason, after aging, the living organism will die. But non-living organism, they do not have a definite life cycle. Living things are made up of living cells. We all are made up of some cells. Amoeba, a single cell, a cellular organism, that is unicellular organism. So when we talk about unicellular, that is single cells, and then we go to multicellular organisms. Then we human being, again multicellular creatures where our life depend on our cells in the body. Non-living things are not made up of cells, and that's why the cells are not degrading, not neither degenerating. Unless we break the rock and we want the rocks to smaller pieces, we shift them. All that we can do with the non-living things, but by themselves they will not move, they will not excrete, they do not have cells, and all that characteristic will not be shown by non-living things. I hope these points of differentiation between living and non-living things are very clear with you all, children. Please do write all these important points. So here we come to an end of the session, children. I hope you'll enjoy the session, understand the concept, take down all the points discussed and mentioned in the video. Thank you, children, and have a great day.